Hey guys, we're back with another 5-9 Gaming TV review. I am Alec Hunter, joined by Nazdarachi.
What's going on, everybody?
Omnitoast.
Yo, what's going on, guys?
And Waffles, the Asian Yen Bear.
Hello, everyone.
All right. So we are here to talk about episode 9 of WandaVision, titled The Series Finale. So if anybody's wondering if there's going to be a season 2, I'm pretty sure the title answers that question. Episode starts off right where we left off after episode 8, with the kind of Mexican standoff there between Wanda and Agnes, and she's got the kids all magically leashed or whatever. She talks about how, or Wanda says, "Hey, I can use my powers here," and Agnes is like, "Yeah, I'm kind of planning on that," you know. And she starts to attack Agnes or Agatha, I should say. And it turns out that she's sucking her power like she did to the Coven in the previous episode.
Full circle with the Snack on Yo Magic commercial.
Right.
Looks like it was hinting at that.
Agnes was the shark confirmed.
Wow.
Yeah, that's
I kind of
actually
wish that Agnes was a shark now.
it's actually
Imagine that whole
something
final fight.
I noticed. This series takes a lot from the comics, but has significantly simplified it to fit, you know, the more typical MCU narrative, where they take like 10 years worth of comics and condense it down into something that's more easily digestible by the audience, right?
Yeah, which is like massive shout out to Feige and the writers and stuff that do that. That's a lot of intense work to take something and transmute it to make it different but still hold the same elements. I think they did a really good job with this series.
Agreed. I agree with you guys 110%. Like, again, I was very, very skeptical at first. I'm a moviegoer. I like seeing the MCU movies and stuff like that. And it's one of those things that, you know, the MCU hasn't done anything too terribly wrong, you know, to date. Mm-hmm. And I was a little worried when they were like, "Yeah, we're gonna do a TV series." I'm like, because the last one, I mean, I know it's not MCU canon, but the last one was like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I'm like, please no.
Well, I mean, you also had the Netflix ones, which those were, I'd say, 75% good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Just 75% of them, or each of them 75%?
Yeah, I was gonna say
75% of the whole. I mean, we're not
Okay.
talking about Iron
All
Fist.
right, we'll just.
I was gonna say, are we talking about Iron Fist here?
I thought it was pretty clear. That's why I just wanted to confirm.
Right.
Poor Iron Fist.
So we get the first of 2 Wizard of Oz Easter eggs of the episode. After Wanda learns that she can't directly attack Agnes with her magic, she uses a car to run her into a house, which eagle-eyed viewers will note that Wanda likes using cars. Ask Tony Stark in Civil War.
It's a good way to get those sponsorships in, too.
Right. Product placement.
Yeah, of course. Got to get the money for this somehow, right?
The Wizard of Oz reference comes in because as Wanda approaches the car after she's pitched it into the house, you see Agatha's boots, but then nothing else.
It's like
I was
gonna say it's a reference to Wizard of Oz almost.
Yep.
Yeah, Wicked Witch of the West. Well,
And as she's standing up from that, trying to figure out what's going on, she sees a reflection in the window of White Vision, who, if I can sidebar here for just a moment, kind of looks like the android from Red Dwarf. What was his name? Krychek, something like that. But yeah, just visual. Maybe we'll get an editor to put that in because it's just in my head now.
Yeah, because I have no idea who that is. I'm sorry.
I would never.
It's British. It's British sci-fi. I know. I'm old.
Fair enough.
Anyway, so he shows up and they have this kind of play on Wanda's emotions because he like reaches out his hand for her and puts it on the side of on her face, and he says Wanda in the same way that fake Vision said that when he appeared after his creation that we saw in the last episode. We already know that this is not Vision. So it's not very long before he's trying to crush her skull, and then Hex Vision, I guess we'll call him Hex Vision.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, that's what everyone's been calling him, yeah.
Hex Vision has shown up, saves Wanda, gets into a fight with White Vision. We hear the line from the trailers where it's, this is our home. Well, then let's fight for it. And they each go off to fight individually. Let's see here.
Honestly, I was kind of expecting them to do a switch, kind of like the classic superhero switch. Okay, I'm not doing very much against this enemy. You're not doing very much there. Let's just trade.
Yeah, I'm really surprised. They did really good with the Vision versus Vision stuff for how that particular character would fight himself. I mean, the phasing in and out of each other, the shoving, the arms through each other and stuff like that. I thought that was really cool. Nas, what did you think of the combat? This episode was mostly combat, so there's not a whole lot of story to go over.
Yeah, that's what I mentioned off camera a little bit, that this is like a 35 minutes worth of they fight, and she's learning as she fights. Damn it, he's learning as he fights! For those of you who are familiar with the DBS Broly movie, because Wanda starts off in a position, well, a couple episodes back where she knows nothing about witchcraft, and then through this accelerated fight process, she basically learns, thousands of years worth of witchcraft backstory, even to the point at the end of the episode where she's emulating Doctor Strange, where she's, having her astral self read a book while she's doing other things. But yeah, I mean, the fighting in terms of the CGI is pretty much on par with most of the Marvel movies. I mean, you could tell that because it's a TV show, it's 9 parts long, that the budget, wasn't something on the same level as Infinity War, but the overall feel, is pretty consistent. I mean, it seems like, and from what their PR department has said, they're going to be focusing a lot more on television series, like TV shows. I would assume not only to boost up Disney Plus, but because movie theaters aren't doing so well right now. So if every piece of content they put out that is at or above this quality level, I'm very excited. I have no real complaints with the visual aesthetic of this entire series. And, most of the CGI probably does happen in this last episode, and none of it is so bad to the point where it breaks your immersion. It's roughly on par with the movies at a glance, right?
Yeah.
It's not bad.
No, like you said, honestly, I'd even if you would have given me this and not said it was a Disney Plus show, just give me this fight scene and just tell me it was this is a Marvel movie, just something made from Marvel, I would have actually thought it was a movie. It looked good to me. It looked really, really good.
Yep. So just to really quickly run down what little bits of story there are left, Agatha kind of unlocks the town's minds, and they confront Scarlet Witch, basically forcing her to realize she's been torturing these people this whole time, which it seems like she didn't know that they were living her nightmares and stuff like that. Just shows that Wanda still doesn't have complete understanding of how her powers work, but she gonna get there.
Yeah, she says she will.
She will. The kids are involved a little bit here and there. There's a couple of cool scenes. We do get a speedster scene. Nothing quite to the extent of the Fox Quicksilver scenes, but he uses his powers and helps. But Wanda and Agatha, they go toe to toe in the air. Basically, Wanda is tricking her into thinking that she's giving her powers, but really what she's doing is drawing the magical runes in the walls of the hex, so Agatha can't cast her magic.
It's a reversal from a couple episodes back. Again, that learning as she fights mechanic.
While this is all going on, my favorite actual moment of the entire show is when Vision and Vision end up in the library.
Oh, that was good.
And Hex Vision brings up the ship of Theseus, I believe it is. Yep. Which is kind of this thought experiment. Just to give the quick breakdown on it. There is a ship, and it's sitting in a museum. Every year, they repair the ship by replacing planks that are rotting with new planks of wood. At what point does this ship stop being the ship of Theseus and become something else? Or on the flip side, if you take all of the rotted wood and you build a new ship, is that ship now the ship of Theseus? It's a thought experiment about identity, and about classifying items and naming things. Basically, it's one of those logic inputs. We get White Vision saying, that neither are the ship of Theseus, but both are the ship of Theseus. And if I understand what happens next, basically Hex Vision hacks White Vision and unlocks all of the memories stored in his hard drive, giving him the memories that Hex Vision doesn't have.
Yeah.
From like before the snap and before the Soul Stone got destroyed or whatever.
Well, I looked at it not so much as hacking, more of just like using the Mind Stone's powers to just like unlock his mind the same way he would have done with all the other people in the town,
Exactly.
Right. I guess I just think of it more as hacking because of the whole circuitry thing and the eyes clearing up and everything. But yeah,
I guess that makes sense. But it's the same kind of thing.
I mean, I sort of go with the more or less the unlocking, because again later in the episode near the end, she says he was created from the piece of the Mind Stone that resides inside of her. So I can see the hacking thing, but I can also see that's the Mind Stone,
right?
The actual Mind Stone doing its thing.
Yeah. So Wanda learns her lesson in the short and the long of it. She defeats Agatha and actually does something really cruel. She locks Agatha inside the Agnes personality. Like, you can see it as it happens. She creates like a little hex around just Agatha.
Everything in this show is a big alley-oop. Like, the show starts off one way and ends like the mere opposite. Agatha's the one pulling some strings, manipulating Wanda's grief. More so in like an observatory way at first, where she's just kind of checking out what's going on. But, her involvement increases as the series progresses. Vision kind of pulls a flip-flop too. Well, he pulls multiple flip-flops where he's fake, and then he's real again with the White Vision, but that's not the real Vision. But then the fake Vision touches his head, and then the White Vision seems like he's given a path to become the old Vision again, just cosmetically different, right? Like, maybe that's them incorporating Wonder Man's, imprinted consciousness on, the MCU version of Vision, right? And so he's flip-flopped potentially. The magic battles, like the way they play out, all flip-flops, even down to the burning at the stake stuff from the very, very beginning of the show. Like, everything comes full circle and ends up the exact opposite almost of where it started. It's kind of like a theme for this show. But in the long run, Scarlet Witch does have a much greater understanding of who she is. Like, this whole series has been an origin story for her character as the Scarlet Witch after we've already known her as Wanda for this long, right?
Yeah,
that's a
it's
good
been really
analogy,
nice
actually.
to see that, I think. Like, because I think for us, especially also with Vision as well, not so much an origin story for him, but more of just, this gave us the development we really needed for them, because now after all this, I feel excited to see Wanda in more shows and movies in the future. But like before, she was just there, like it just existed, and now it's nice to actually be attached to this character.
Yeah, I agree with that.
We do get a couple of little snippets into kind of the characters that have been, the townspeople that have been trapped by Wanda. We learned that Dottie's real name is Susan, and she has an 8-year-old child that she hasn't held the entire time the show's been going on.
Yeah,
Like,
which is
it's
she was
really
begging.
dark crap when you think about it.
Yeah, it's a lot different than the people thinking that she was somehow involved in all this. That was another reversal there. Just
they had a lot of like red herrings in this. Definitely.
Oh yeah, but that fits the motif of this. Like, it was a very much like they lived off in essence a magic trick of misdirection.
Oh yeah.
Like, it fits perfectly with it.
Great example of misdirection is Evan Peters.
Oh God. Yep.
So
Let's talk about that.
yeah, let's talk about that. So he's not Quicksilver. He is not Quicksilver from the X-Men universe.
Nope.
He's freaking Ralph.
He's Mr. Boner.
He's
Give him his real name.
He's what the internet worst fears were culminated. That he's just some random guy
Some
that's not
rando guy
Okay.
that got all of his powers and stuff from Agatha.
Maybe I'm in a little bit of denial because like I don't think he's necessarily a random guy. I think, and we can talk about this later if you want, but I think he might be the witness protection guy. Cause I don't know, Ralph Boner sounds like a fake name to me.
Oh yeah. Well, Ralph
I'm
Boner's a
sorry.
terrible name.
Like,
But yeah, that's
no.
another thing we don't get an answer for is we never find out who Jimmy Woo's witness protection person was, his missing person.
Yeah.
or the aerospace engineer either. That's
Yeah.
wink, nudge, nudge.
Right. They do leave a few strings untied, a few loose ends. And then they add a couple with post-credit scenes. We have a mid-credit scene where Monica is asked to go into the local theater, and she's confronted by someone who turns into a Skrull and says, "A friend of your mother told me to stop by. He wants to see you." And when asked where they are, she points up. I think this is most likely a reference to Nick Fury being in that sword spaceship thing that we saw at the end of the Spider-Man movie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'd agree with that.
Yeah, so because remember, this takes place only a few weeks after the snap, and Spider-Man Far From Home is months and months after the snap.
And
So
I think
this technically
the-
takes place beforehand.
Yeah, and I think the use of the he pronoun there means like it's not going to be Captain Marvel or anything like that. So yeah, I think it's definitely just Nick Fury. I'd be surprised if it was anyone else.
I mean, I could see how some people could think maybe it's Talos, but I'm pretty sure that we've established
he's
that
on
Talos
Earth.
has been Nick Fury since Tony's funeral.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, he was letting Nick Fury go take a break out in space, vacation time.
Right. Right.
God, how long has he been on vacation in space?
A
guess
good
8
while.
months.
Jeez. Well,
Yeah,
think-
nice time.
I think, like you said, I think he was there since after Tony's funeral.
Yeah.
Jeez. All right. Hey, I don't know. I could use a
I mean,
nice
after-
vacation in space for
after-
8 months.
I mean, after 11 plus or however many years it was throughout the MCU, I think he deserves it.
Yeah, he earned it. He earned it. Okay.
All the stuff he's gone through, I think he earned it.
He just
Fair enough.
needs a bird's eye view. That's it. He's just looking down on his
Oh.
kingdom, and he's like, "Hey, everything the light touches is my kingdom." Wait, wrong.
He was
movie.
looking at a beach. I don't know what you're talking about here.
No, yeah, he was looking at dude. He was chilling on a virtual beach.
Yeah.
So, in our second end credit scene, we actually get to see how powerful Wanda is. We zoom in on this cabin that's in the mountains, which I'm really hoping is Wanda Gore Mountain. But there was no confirmation of that. That's just me fanboy speculating. But we zoom in on this cabin, and Wanda's there, and you hear her tea kettle go off. She goes inside to get the tea kettle, and the camera keeps going past her into her bedroom, where her astral self is studying the book, which we assume is the Darkhold based on what Agatha said about it earlier in the episode.
Yeah, she mentions that it's the Darkhold, and there's like a whole chapter devoted to her there. So I'm assuming she's studying the chapter.
And when she does talk about that, she does mention that the Scarlet Witch is more powerful than the Sorcerer Supreme. There is our only tie-in directly to Doctor Strange in the entire series.
Yep. We got a power scale to go with. Yes.
Which is nice.
But the reason I say that end credit scene shows us how powerful she is keep in mind during the events of the Doctor Strange movie, Stephen Strange did the same thing. He astral projected to read books and study, but he did it while sleeping. Wanda's awake, walking around, making tea, and controlling her astral form to study at the same time. It's a ridiculous flex of power that I think a lot of people are going to miss the significance of.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I definitely missed the significance of that. Thank you for telling us. Huh. Wow. Yeah.
It was really sad of me, like when I first watched it, and it showed like the beautiful lake, the mountains. Why did I get really bad X-Men 2 vibes?
X-Men 3?
No. Wait.
Or no, X-Men 2.
No,
X-Men 2.
it was X-Men 2.
With the Force, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm just sitting here, I'm like, why does this feel very familiar right now?
Maybe it's the same place they filmed it. Who knows?
Probably. It probably
might be.
is.
Yeah. But okay. Well, what do you guys
I'm
think is
just like,
going to
oh,
happen
please no.
next now? Because, like, we know that she's now tied into Doctor Strange. She wants to learn more about, like, her powers and magic. And I'm thinking that she goes to actually meet with him once she has a significant amount of knowledge and knows where he is. And, like,
Well,
maybe that's because she's in the movie next, right?
Given that we heard her kids crying for help when she was studying the Darkhold in that last thing, like the last thing we hear in the series, both of the boys calling for help, and she waves her hand across the screen, and the red flashes, and it looks like she's like out the door trying to find the kids. I mean, we don't see her move from that spot, but we do hear the boys say, "Mom, help us," and then flash. And that's where everything ends. So that's the exact ending of where we're at. I think Multiverse of Madness will have something to do with her trying to find the kids. And if this book is the Darkhold, then, and Naz, I think you might go crazy with me here. If this book is the Darkhold, does that mean the villain of Multiverse of Madness is Chthon?
That's another big maybe, because that they're gonna have to rewrite some of the backstory of the villains and vanilla them up a little bit, because Chthon's still a demon. Demons still don't fly in China, so they'll have to rewrite him to be more of a cosmic entity, who's the source of all magic and not
the Lord of all chaos.
Yeah, not an
something
actual
like
demon, right?
Right.
That's still possible. It's either him. Nightmare. The reason I swing towards one of those two is because if Mephisto was going to be involved, he probably would have popped up here somewhere. And again, he is the literal personification of Satan in the Marvel universe. So Nightmare seems like the more crowd palatable choice overall, like worldwide for global audiences. So either a Mephisto or a Chthon rewrite where they're just a cosmic entity, or Nightmare. It's got to be one of those three.
I'll be 100% honest. I'd rather it be Nightmare. As much as I want to see Mephisto, I don't want to see him get like neutered like that. Like it's just one of those things. Like it, you know, I guess it's just growing up with the old school, like the stories that we know from the comics. It's like I don't want to see him get like, in a weird sense, neutered would be the word. It almost feels like, I get the idea. Yeah, I understand, you know, demons don't fly in China. That's a cultural thing. I understand that. I respect that. But it's like, I don't want to see them take one of probably the coolest, villains like that, like Mephisto, and just be like, and he's now an astral being. I'm like, don't do that. Don't do that to me. Just give me Nightmare. I'll just take Nightmare. I'll go with that.
Would you be upset if they changed Nightmare?
I mean, I'll be upset still, but it won't be as bad as Mephisto.
Okay.
That's just my personal feeling. Like Mephisto, like you said, Mephisto's the living personification of Satan in in Marvel. Like that's a lot to rewrite right there.
Good point.
So,
that's a lot to change right there.
I mean, for me personally, I if the book is the Darkhold, because it wasn't 100% clear. She didn't pull the book out of the air and said, "Hey, this is the Darkhold. Here's this chapter about you." She kind of referenced that the Darkhold had a chapter about her, materialized a book out of thin air, and then started telling her the story of the Scarlet Witch. Yeah. So I'm assuming based off of that it's the Darkhold. There are other magical texts in the Marvel lexicon of stories that can contain pages from the Darkhold or from other magical texts, but are not said magical texts. So just get that out of the way. There is a chance this is not the Darkhold. I believe that it is, and if it is, I really would like to see Chthon or Chthon or Cthulhu, however it is it's actually pronounced, because there's too many dang consonants in that word.
Well, if we actually get it, we'll know for sure. They'll make the pronunciation.
I'm about 90% sure that's actually the Darkhold.
Did you guys think that the whole ending had a powerful kind of emotional vibe to it, or were you kind of this is cheesy?
I cried on Discord. I had my mic muted. I was crying. So just so you know, it was emotional. It was good. Like when I say I'm attached to these characters, I'm attached to these characters. It was saying goodbye was hard.
And it was really nice because it does still set up her eventually most likely will be meeting up with White Vision at some point.
Definitely.
Because of the way he says, like, there's a good chance that we could say hello again.
Yeah,
Right.
that was kind of a way, like, I thought it was going to be a more literal, she's going to use her magic powers to fuse the fake Vision with the White Vision and recreate real Vision.
That's what, that's what me and my fiance were thinking. We're like, they're going to do the fusion dance. Let's go.
Because it makes that's the thing is it's one of those solutions that makes too much sense.
Yeah.
And this one works where they don't need the Mind Stone anymore, which I guess they don't want to bring the Infinity Stones back.
Good.
I mean, that's fair. I mean, that's very fair. But that's actually something I was talking to my fiance about today. And it was like, we're in a really interesting timeline without the Infinity Stones. Like, we were told in Endgame, you take away the Infinity Stones, bad things are going to happen.
Well,
and so, like, for a little bit, I thought, with the Mind Stone possibly coming back, I thought, like, it was, or, like, somehow it was going to, like, it copied itself. Like, we thought, like, maybe it copied itself. It was a mental copy, in a sense.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it kind of sort of did. She did confirm that there is a piece of the Mind Stone that still resides within her.
Exactly. And that's why I was like, well, maybe they might bring back the Infinity Stones, because, like I said, in Endgame, we were told you take away an Infinity Stone from a... Like, that was from the time-traveling part, but, like, doesn't that still technically apply to the main timeline in a weird way?
I think they wouldn't be literal
there to
stones.
Hold things?
Their essence could exist somewhere, but I don't think we'll see, like, the actual stones that could be collected.
Yeah, the physical vessel that contained their essence has been atomized.
Yeah, so... Yeah, maybe their atoms are enough to maybe keep everything together. Who knows?
Maybe. Whatever direction they want to go with it, we'll be able to find out. But I don't see them... I don't think they want it to be a plot device that they can really use anymore.
It's just one of those things, because it's always been a plot device in the comics. Like, they pop up all the time in the comics, which I wouldn't mind them popping up here and there, but maybe not like as the Infinity Gauntlet again. Maybe here and there, there's a stone, right? Or, stuff like that. But I can see them, turning their heads away from it and be like, okay, that book is done. Onward.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
how did you guys feel about the end, by the way?
Sorry, what was that?
Oh, I was just going to ask, how did you guys feel about the end? Because I went on a little spiel there.
I loved it.
Yeah, I mean, for the simplified story that they told, I liked it. It served their plot.
There are things that I like about the ending. I like that Wanda owned up, and she did have to sacrifice everything she had kind of just cheated to give herself through magic, and she had to give all that up and go and grow as a character. I think that's great progression. On the opposite side of that coin, friggin' Hayward goes from being something that we were hoping was going to be the next Boulevard Trash to just being a worthless mustache-twirling caricature of a villain in this freaking episode.
Wait. He's only going to prison. There's could be just setting him up for something in the future.
Yeah, we know how that's going to work out with Zemo.
I don't know. The way they dealt with him in this episode, I don't feel like he's going to be anything beyond the antagonist of WandaVision.
But the way they dealt with it was too easy. Like, just Darcy running into him and it's done. I don't believe that to be enough. That was funny,
hilarious.
Yeah. But I don't feel like that's enough to just end his character. I think that's just to set him up to be rotting in prison and being angry and plans for future stuff.
Up until this episode, even though he was a D-bag through the whole show, I liked the character of Hayward as a villain, as an antagonist.
Yeah.
In this episode... It lost me. It literally just went, I'm as bad as you think I am, and now that I'm halfway to my master plan, I'm going to tell you everything.
Basically.
There's little things like that still disappoint me about this, but as far as a series end to what this roughly 6-hour saga is, I mean, it wasn't bad. No, not at all.
Yeah. They gave her a good backstory that pulled some emotional strings, that closed all the loops that it was meant to open for Wanda's specific backstory, and left enough juicy morsels to keep us waiting for Doctor Strange, which I guess that was their intention.
Yeah, and that's the intention with these Disney Plus shows, is they're the bridges between movies, which is why I'm excited to see more of them now. But I mean, overall, I loved the entire series. It was a beautiful series, and the first 3 episodes made you very, very uncomfortable because of everything going on. And then once we started getting into the meat of it, we were like, okay, this is where it's gonna go. And I mean, it finally built up to what we've, at least I know, I'm just gonna speak for myself here, but I know everyone else feels this. Finally name dropping her as the Scarlet Witch was like, the minute they said that, the last episode, I was like, I'm done. I don't need to watch the rest of the episode. I could go home now, right?
Oh, okay.
So
yeah,
code
names are a big thing in the comic books, and when they try to just kind of skirt through them and not really use them in the movies, it kind of, I don't know, for my opinion, it diminishes the value of the IP that they're using if they're not addressing them by their code names.
Yeah,
okay.
I mean, how many times did we hear Scarlett Johansson be called Black Widow? I can't, off the top of my hand. Like, how many? It's one of those things.
Twice.
Like, yeah, she gets a name drop here and there, but the rest of the time she goes by Nat.
Yeah.
Ah, okay. I was like, wait, what was her real name? I totally forgot. Okay. Okay, so one thing
she goes
I
by
would
Nat
say,
the rest of the time. So
though,
it's like,
is like, I don't mind the code name so much, but I was really happy to see her actually get her costume. Like, that was really cool.
Her costume is fire.
Dude, they did a great job designing that for the MCU. Like, that is,
let's be
beautiful.
real. Like, if the editor is able to, let's throw up a picture of Wanda's comic book costume juxtaposed against her TV costume here. They did a really good job making that ridiculous thing not look ridiculous.
And it was exactly. And like, for most of this fight at the beginning, I was kind of a little iffy because she's still in the mom outfit with like a hoodie and like with sweatpants or something. Yeah,
right. Like soccer moms fighting crime.
Yeah, where like Agatha's got her whole outfit going, and you've got like Vision fighting in the background with another white Vision. It's just felt out of place until like she finally got the outfit, and I was like, all right, that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So she finally like awakened the true Scarlet Witch powers and went into it. It was like, it looked so good. Mm-hmm. That was worth the wait, and just the reveal of it, the way they did it, like made it look like how she saw it in the Mind Stone. It was perfect. Like, it was well done.
Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna wrap things up for the interview, but before we do, I want to go around to each of us, and I want us to state our favorite moment from the episode, and then our favorite episode of the series.
Ooh.
Okay. So,
okay.
Not to throw anybody under the bus, I will go ahead and start first. My favorite moment of this episode was the goodbye between Vision and Wanda, Hex Vision and Wanda. The everlasting hope of Hex Vision. We've said goodbye multiple times. Chances are we'll say hello again. I mean, I just love that writing. I don't know. Maybe I'm just an old sappy guy, but it just got me right in the feels.
That's right.
My favorite episode has to be what was it, the last episode with our magical mystery tour through Wanda's history. I think that was my favorite episode. Mm-hmm. So Naz, what about you, buddy?
I would go with my favorite sequence just being the Vision on Vision dialogue. I liked, like dude said, it was pretty entertaining watching him act with himself. Probably the same as you, the previous episode, because it's the one that had the most like answers and plot and actual stuff of substance going on that just wasn't, punch, kick, blast with magic. That stuff's cool too, but I like having a pretty even balance of answers as well as, more questions being raised or just nothing and fighting. So, yeah, previous episode for me as well.
Omni?
Favorite moment from this episode, hands down, is the official reveal of her in her Scarlet Witch uniform. Like, that scene was just too good for me to just pass up. Like, I've been waiting for that costume. I've been waiting for the name drop. Everything. It just built up to that moment to me. But I'm gonna have to actually agree with you guys. The last episode, hands down, was probably the strongest of them all in my book. Especially for the fact that we found out in that episode that she's a witch. She's been a witch the whole time.
Yep.
The Mind Stone just made her stronger.
Yeah, you could tell that the line that summed it all up was like, the only difference is that you did this on purpose, Agatha. I've just been kind of blowing through life not knowing what the hell was going on.
Mm-hmm.
So
As
there's
we all
no
do.
intent, whereas Agatha had the intent.
Right.
Which
Right.
makes a lot of
Yep.
sense. You know, it works with the plot that they've crafted for Wanda, for sure.
And then how about you, Waffles? Favorite moment from the episode and favorite episode of the series?
All right, so if you would ask me my favorite moment the first time I watched it, it would have been the library scene. Second time, though, because I knew it was coming, the goodbye scene. The one thing that you didn't mention that I really loved was the interaction with the light, where he's she turns off the lights and she just wants to kind of say goodbye, and Vision turns it back on, and it's like he made up a line about it's bad luck to say goodbye in the dark, and then she's like, you didn't read that, and he's like, yeah, I didn't, I just wanted to see you. And that got me right in the feels. That was so good. Yeah, that whole goodbye sequence was lovely. That was great. Honestly though, favorite episode, I'm gonna be a little bit different from you guys here. I really like the first episode the most. I think for me, I really like the intrigue in shows like that where I'm not quite sure what's going on, but I know there's a big mystery to unravel. And I didn't know what to expect with the first episode, and that caught me, and I was like, yes, okay, I love this. I'm watching it. I'm hooked.
Dude, that makes perfect sense for you, though. You're a Pokemon fan. You're all about the beginning of the journey. The journey is what is exciting for you.
Fair enough.
That's
get
fair.
it.
That's fair.
All
Yeah,
right.
it was lovely.
So while this may be the last episode of the show proper, we do know that next week they are doing some sort of behind the scenes thing. So we will cover that. And then maybe even have some more best of, worst of conversations about the series as a whole.
Yeah, we'll have to revisit it once Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness comes out to just close all of the loops that have been left open by the end scene credits stingers and stuff like that, right?
Nas, you're only asking them to wait for an entire year.
Well, I mean,
For a retrospective.
this is Marvel. We've done 11 already, so
Right,
might as well
that's fair.
strap in and prepare for a long ride, right?
But go ahead, Dominic.
Oh no, I mean, I agree with him. Like, I mean, it's been 11 years. Why not wait another year for another fun video just going back on a Disney Plus show?
Okay. And then just to end this off on something that I think we can all agree on, Agatha All Along was the best song of the entire series.
It topped the
Hands down,
charts.
Did
It
they
topped
have
the
much
iTunes
more
charts, yeah.
What it did?
Yes. It was great.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
So anyway, guys, I am Alec Hunter with Nas Darachi, Omni Toast, and Waffles, and thank you for joining us for the last 9 weeks for WandaVision. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff that YouTube asks us to ask you, so that way we can stay relevant and paid. I like paid. But hope you guys have a great weekend and continue to make yours Marvel.